is up, YouTubers? It's HardCounter89 and the voices in my head coming at you from the Duelist Den. And today we have another top 10 video for you guys. Today's top 10 video, we will be going over the top 10 counter traps that have ever been released in the game. These are the most powerful counter traps that we have ever seen. But before we get into that list, I want to remind everyone out there to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow all of the social media accounts, which are linked down in the description box below, so you can stay up to date with everything happening here at the Duelist Den. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with this list. At the number 10 spot, we have Trap Jammer. Trap Jammer states that when your opponent activates a trap card during the battle phase, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This card has seen a lot of usage back when the Mirror Forces were such a big deal. This card could easily stop Mirror Force, Blazing Mirror Force, Storming Mirror Force, all the Mirror Forces. It had great utility against D-Barrier. It was just a very, very good card. The only downside is that it can only stop traps that are activated during the battle phase, which is why it is so low on the list. At the number 9 spot, we have Magic Jammer. Magic Jammer states that when a spell card is activated, discard one card to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Now this card works really great against things such as Dark Hole, Regeki, Equip spells. Every spell in the game can be stopped with Magic Jammer. You do have to discard a card to negate the spell card, but that is a price worthy of paying. My personal opinion on this card, though, is that it is best used during GOAT format because it can stop Scapegoat, and that is a really big deal, especially in GOAT format, because if you can shut down that Scapegoat, then your opponent's plays are just pretty much screwed. At the number 8 spot, we have 7 Tools of the Bandit. This card states that when a trap card is activated, pay 1,000 life points, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Now this card is higher than Trap Jammer because 7 Tools does not have the condition that the trap card has to be used during the battle phase. This can negate any trap card your opponent has. Now this card could even be used in modern format to shut down something such as Trickstars, because it could stop Trickstar Reincarnation, Present Card, Disturbance Strategy, pretty much any of the trap cards that Trickstars use to really push their plays to the edge. It's not seen a whole lot because trap cards are extremely slow these days. But for a budget player, this card could definitely be an out to Trickstars. That being said, back when this card was released, way back in the day, trap cards were a major problem. So this card was very, very good. Next up, we have Divine Punishment. Divine Punishment states that you can only activate it if the Sanctuary in the Sky is face up on the field. You can negate the activation of a spell card, trap card, or effect monster's effect and destroy that card. Now, the only downside to Divine Punishment is that you have to have the Sanctuary in the Sky on the field. If it wasn't for that condition, this trap card would be the best trap card in the game. But there are a lot of decks that can utilize this, such as Counter Fairies, Ritual Fairies. Hell, even Trickstars could utilize this card because they have the ability to play Sanctuary in the Sky to prevent them from taking battle damage. Next up, we have Dark Bride. This card states that when an opponent's spell or trap card is activated, your opponent draws one card. Also negate the spell and trap activation, and if you do, destroy it. Now, Dark Bride at one point was a staple card in a lot of decks. The problem is that this card gave your opponent an unneeded advantage by allowing them to draw a card, so it quickly lost favor with a lot of duelists. At the number 5 spot, we have Divine Wrath. This card states that when a monster's effect is activated, discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. Now, Divine Wrath is another card that was a staple in a lot of decks because monster effect activations are very, very dangerous. This allowed you to negate that monster's activation and destroy that monster. So this card was very good. Again, it lost popularity with the advent of more powerful counter trap cards. At the number 4 spot, we have Ultimate Providence. Ultimate Providence states that when a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, discard the same type of card, monster, spell, or trap respectively, to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, Ultimate Providence is very, very powerful, especially if you can keep your hand advantage. Now, the only downside to this is, again, if you cannot keep your hand advantage, you have to be very selective about what you keep in your hand so that you can anticipate what your opponent's going to do in order to stop them. Other than that, this card is extremely powerful, and I'm surprised people aren't playing this more, especially if they have ways to continuously refill their hands. At the number 3 spot, we have Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is a staple in a lot of decks these days. The effect is that when a monster would be summoned, or would be special summoned, or a monster effect is activated, pay 1,500 life points to negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, this card is very dangerous because you are giving up a huge chunk of life points to negate your monster, the summon or effect of your opponent's monsters. That being said, that 1,500 life points is irrelevant, especially if you can stop your opponent's most powerful monster. At number 2, we have Solemn Mourning. This card is on the limited list, so you can only play one copy of it in your deck. Again, this is another staple card, especially in today's decks. The effect is that when a monster will be summoned, or a spell trap card or a monster effect is activated that includes the effect of summoning or of special summoning a monster, sorry I got a little tongue-tied there, pay 2,000 life points to negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy it. Now this card is very, very powerful because it can stop a whole host of things. It can stop your opponent's best monster from coming out and stop your opponent from using a spell or trap card to bring that monster out. It is just a very versatile card, and you can see why it is on the limited list. At the number 1 spot, we have a card that is banned outright, and that is Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment states that when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card is activated, pay half your life points to negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, Solemn Judgment, your opponent doesn't have to special summon the monster. It can stop normal summons as well. It can stop any spell or trap card in the game. And because you will always be able to pay the cost for this card, it doesn't matter how many life points you have, you can pay half of them for the activation of this card. You can have 10 life points to activate this card because you would still have life points to pay. So you can see why Solemn Judgment is on the ban list, and it definitely deserves the number 1 spot on this list. Well, anyway, this list, as always, guys, leave your comments down in the section below. Let me know what you thought about this list. And until next time, this is Harpy189 and the voices in my head. Just wanted to say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not just a game. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is life.